I think it's unfortunate that we live in a world now wherein some people might use a certain critically acclaimed film of only being so because it targets a certain, you know, I don't want to use this term, but, you know, it's virtue signaling, it's appealing to this or that, SJW, woke, blah, blah, blah. Because, for two reasons. One, because I think it's such an obnoxious, and it really speaks to an ugly desire that people have to kind of quash these movements rather than trying to take a more nuanced view of them. They have a good cause, but they might be misguided and thinking more about being an advocate rather than being honest about what might be, a truly interesting film, or whether they're acting in the interests of the people they claim to be advocating for, or to come across as noble people in society. This is all well worth discussing without getting all like, I'm sick of everything going woke, or just talking like a lunatic, basically. The other reason it's sad is because those films have existed recently, and a lot of them are quite garbage, as it were. Hidden Figures, Lady Bird, Call Me By Your Name, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Green Book, Little Women, and may as well throw Promising Young Woman and maybe Licorice Pizza. That's disgusting in any case. Judas and the Black Messiah, King Richard. Certainly Everything Everywhere All at Once. Barbie, absolutely. And I'm just even though Oppenheimer doesn't really count, I'm just going to say Oppenheimer anyway. Like, there are films which they're only praised because it's just like it's a talking point which we can, yeah, we agree with that. How was the film? Was it very interesting or compelling? I don't know. I agree. I fucking really agreed with it though. I agreed the shit out of it. Yeah, let's be real. Like, those are some Best Picture nominations which were not very good, and a winner in one case. And it's only because people are patting themselves on the back which people have any real praise or interest in them. And I fucking hate the idea that people would apply this to Barry Jenkins' Moonlight as well, because this is one of the better acclaimed films of the 2010s, of the 21st century, of all time maybe. This is absolutely filmic. This film strives to be an entry in the canon of the medium in general. Remember, Stephen Frears' My Beautiful Laundrette strives to introduce one of these romantic stories to an audience, to a group of people, the LGBT, the male homosexual community, let's say specifically, with a kind of traditional romance, contemporary narrative, which it hadn't been depicted with during the course of the 20th century filmmaking storytelling. And so then you have Moonlight come along, which seeks to go one further and employ both a storytelling revolution of something which is, well, it's not really a revolution. It's incorporating an experience of a designated other. Also, this film talks about male homosexuality, or masculinity in general, perhaps, with specifically in regard to the context of the African American community in the United States. There's this specific desire to not only, you take a narrative which has a traditional scaffold in some respects, but you explore it from that other perspective to kind of expand the more binary views of those storylines that traditional audiences might have otherwise. And then Moonlight goes one further and wants to put this kind of narrative, this sort of gay male representation, African American at that, into the annals of film history, period. And I think what you do there is I think there's a tension sometimes, I think, between to what degree are these things being considered outsider and subversive? Is this a thing that certain groups want to take with pride, or do they want to regard it as sort of demonizing? Do they want to be considered normal, healthy, and an element of society which can be totally soluble and completely accepted without controversy? Or is it something which prides itself on trying to subvert and kind of, retaliate against the existing order. It appears as though most of the LGBT plus community just wants to be considered regular members of society and treated as quote normal people unquote, just not marginalized. And so as a result, a film like Moonlight is not only powerful advocacy, but a powerful testament to how extraordinary and potent cinema is as a medium for change and for developing, expanding the logos. Think about it. How far we've come. This medium's grammar was partly, or even just majorly, inspired by a vile racist named D.W. Griffith. Or you could say Billy Bitzer, who may not have been a vile bigot, but working under D.W. Griffith, who was. Now, coming full circle, a film like Moonlight enforces, champions the medium, and the medium imbuing a message underneath it, but still understanding the vitality of the medium. Moonlight is not a film which saw social advocacy or God forbid, a certain social virtue signaling as paramount, but saw both. It knew that if it was honest about the capabilities and potentials of the medium, that would open itself up to being, that level of honesty can then be applied to an honesty about these social issues, which fusing together compose what I think is a masterpiece in Barry Jenkins' Moonlight. Thank you very much. Share your own thoughts on the film below if you're so inclined. If you're a film fan hesitant to watch Moonlight because you think it's going to be some sappy romantic film which is more about a certain projection of social nobility from those who lauded it, rather than those who just love cinema for its own sake, as I'm sure many of us do, Moonlight is a film for both people who like cinema for its own sake and people who like social dramas. And trust me on this, sincerely, you must. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the film and anticipate it might be mundane, you couldn't be further from the truth, I assure you.